Good morning. We're back here with Thomas at City College, and we'd like to talk today about customer relations. This has a little bit to do with gardening business, and what I can talk about more than anything else is small business. My business was only myself and maybe 2 employees, and that's all I ever had. So when you do this, customer relations really gets to be something right on, because I'm dealing with the client, I'm dealing with my employees and the garden. So the number one, I always thought for students starting out, there's such a thing as the Constitution and the 10 Commandments, and if you really think about that, integrity, honesty, things of that sort, neatness, all of this comes up to the client. So when you get a call, answer it back. A lot of people, they never call back. Hey, you get a reputation, he never answers his phone, okay? The other thing is then when you show up kind of nicely dressed. I don't tell you to go put a suit and tie on, but if you have a little uniform, make sure it's clean. You don't come out of a tree with sawdust hanging on, sweat coming down, and you look a mess. You may be the guy that gets up in the tree and does all the work. You may be self-employed and no employees, but when you have to come down to get a job, you have to turn your hat around. You're the owner of the business, and it's the image that you portray that'll get your foot in the door. Now, after that, if you don't know your business, don't know what you're doing, that's not being neat and honest and everything, isn't going to keep your job. You have to have the whole package, So a lot of times, I used to tell Thomas that I had keys and code numbers for 10 or 20 clients. I couldn't keep them in my head. I had to write them in my little book and make sure I never let that get out. I had keys. I've had people call me at midnight. Get a call at midnight, I answer the phone and, oh, this is Mrs. K. Gus, could you do me a big favor? I said, what's that? This is midnight, Oh, she says, yes, we went to the opera and came back to the house with some friends, and as we were seeing them off, the door slammed. We're outside and we don't have our key, and our son is not in town. Could you bring the key? I told her, well, I'm in my pajamas, I'm coming in my car, I'm gonna hand you the keys, you open the door and give me my key back. And so she was, they were all informals and all this, and here I, needed to shave and whatever in my pajamas. So this is the kind of rapport you want to have with your client. You want to be on the same page. And if you can get that, you're going to have a happy client, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to have a good business going. So you have to build on that. So this also bounces down to if you have a few employees. You have to tell them what to do and how to act. And a lot of time I would even bring them in when I'm talking to a client. I said, Fred, come over. I want to introduce you to Mrs. So-and-so, because when I have employees, students that work for me, I'm still their teacher. And I want them really to go into my business. I think it's a great business. They may want to go civil service, that's fine. But when I'm teaching you to talk with the client, civil service is talking with other clients, with the public and other employees. You have to be able to do some speaking and know how to do it. And you only get that through practice, the more time. So a lot of times the student would tell me after, God, I'm so glad you let me talk to Mrs. So-and-so. I learned a lot, and so further than that, I take my employees to the nursery with me. I'll take them to a rock yard to teach them how to pick out a rock or a plant and how you have to deal with the nursery and get to know, by me bringing them, the nursery people know them. They come in on their own, you got their foot in the door, and when it comes to customer relations, when you first come in, this is when you have to explain how you operate. And if you're going to work on an hourly basis, my opinion is to tell you to write it down, make an agreement. You're not a contractor, you can't write a contract, but you can write an agreement and they sign it. So they know how much an hour you're going to charge. You may give them a date that you're going to come, and what happens if it's on a holiday, I'll skip you or I'll do you the day before. Get it all down in writing, and then tell them how much an hour. And you might even say, I will do all the pruning, I'll do the mowing, I'll do this. But you leave off watering, let's say. Then they might come out after you start and say, well, aren't you going to water today? Well, I said, no, we never talked about watering. I thought, that you would do that. Our agreement was, and usually that stops them. Once they know, because before you write the agreement, you're talking, they should be explaining what they really want. So that's what I'm saying about the rapport. You have to understand between the both of you, the client and you, the gardener, what's going on. You have to know. If you don't know it, that's when you get into problems. People say, God, I thought you said, and nowadays you people have your phones, you can record it, and then transcribe it at home, but you can keep it on the phone when they say that. And it's kind of nasty to do that, but there are a lot of people out there, I want you to know, that are nasty. And you don't want to get sucked in on those people. They don't want to pay you before you walk in the door. Not that they don't want to pay you. I've had students tell me the client comes out after they finish the job and says, I have no money. But they still hired you, and you brought plants or you worked there, maybe it's just a cleanup job, but maybe you spent 2 days there and you're not going to get paid. And it costs money and time to go to small claims. You get a judgment, but maybe they're renting the place. They don't own nothing. You're never going to get any money out of those people. So you have to kind of talk to them. And my best way of getting jobs, also, this has to do with customer relations, is get jobs from one of your other clients. So if you have a Mrs. Jones and she loves you and you love working in her garden, you tell Mrs. Jones, I could use a few more jobs like you. If you have any friends, I'd be willing to go talk to them. You don't want to take people off the phone ad, or people that see you, they walk by and see you do gardening. You might go look at their job but be a little leery. How come they don't have a gardener already? Because they have a lot of trouble with gardeners. Maybe they don't pay well or whatever, or too demanding. That's another thing. Once in a while you get clients that are very demanding, and this is a tough one, and because a lot of the gardens that we take care of, it's like our garden. We do what we want. They even tell you that. Make my garden beautiful. Just send me the bill. That's the one I like. Just send me the bill. And that's the way. But it still all boils down to how you present yourself, your truck, and your appearance and everything. Because Robert, my son, used to complain. I would bend a fender on my truck, I wouldn't fix it. And then I had one fender was gray and the rest of the truck was green, And he said, Dad, we look like Sanford and Sons. So then we started wearing uniforms, we painted the truck. People thought we had a new truck. It was 20 years old, but we painted it. And they thought, oh, you look good. And now, Robert uses this truck. It's a 1964 truck. And wherever he goes, he said practically every day, somebody will stop and ask him about the truck or ask him, is Gus still around? And he said, yeah, he's still around after a fashion. Okay? So good luck. I hope this helped you in some of your endeavors in being a self-employed gardener or a city gardener.